at our get ready for the day routines. The beginner one at 6 o'clock, and right after that is the intermediate one. And today and this week, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday's already done, but today and Friday we are doing a chair routine at 9 o'clock. And that's in honor of awareness this month for muscular dystrophy and CMT. So please join us for that, and please look in the description for Ave Art and Fashion on Instagram. We have the link there, and Happy Calico Shop. The link will also be there, and give them a little love. So this is the continuation. So we put a piece together over a few sessions, and then we clean it up. This one's taking a little longer than usual. We haven't got very far, but we will. But with each piece, I want you all to, just to have learn another technique that you can apply anywhere. And of course, one of those things is turning. And so if you're not like classically trained or jazz trained or something, maybe turning is something that's a little bit of a problem for you. So today I wanted to just start with by learning that it's kind of an alternative turn technique, so you don't have to pivot, and how you can use it in this piece and in future pieces. Welcome back, Sean! Yay, you've been with us since 6 a.m. Oh. Yes, if you were here for our live yesterday evening, we were on a social and just hanging out and having fun. It was great having you guys there. So as you know, if you're ballet trained, you're going to have just a very kind of formal technique. I'm very out of shape with ballet, so you're going to be spinning like this, except up on your toe or half toe. And if you're jazz, you're going to have it turned in and be spinning here. We have a technique that's very useful that we use in Latin social dance, and it's there if we're only doing one turn instead of pivoting. We usually step the turn. So and we're doing our 1, 2, 3 here in place in salsa, for example, and that has a purpose in Latin dance to keep on the rhythm, right? Because the count is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and very often with a pivot, you might get off the music because this is not choreography, this is improvised, so you're following whatever your lead does. But if you are stepping the turn 5, 6, 7, and then you're doing your 1, 2, 3, and then you can step your 5, 6, 7 instead. Or your 1, 2, 3. I'm just gonna step randomly now. So I'm gonna step 1, 1, 2, 3. So here, you're dancing along, and your partner turns you, you're stepping, and you have not broken the continuity of that rhythm. So that's why we do it there. But if you've never learned spin technique, or it's not very secure, and you don't want to bring it into performance because you don't want to bring anything into performance that isn't super secure, this is a good technique to have. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And it's a process, so we're just going to start. As always, I want you to think of your shoulders and hips as a square, right? So this is something we use a lot, so this is going to be our frame. And for this technique, we don't want to distort it at all. Right? So when you get into more turns, you might take a little momentum with your body, but we really want to concentrate on not losing that square. You can even put some tape here and look at yourself in the mirror. So you don't want to lose that square. You don't want the sides of it to bend here or bend here. You want to keep that going so your body is moving in one piece. So whenever you move, even if you're changing direction, you're not losing that square. Your whole body is turning. So that's something I want you to remember just across the board for this technique. The other thing is just stand up straight and bend your knees just a little bit. And I want you to feel like somebody came behind you, like you're bored. And somebody came behind you and they're tipping you forward. So you're not going forward from here, you're not bending. You're shifting your weight, so if you feel your weight, shift forward onto the balls of your feet. So you're tipping forward just a tiny bit. And this is generally, for line dance, this can be your stance, so your weight is off your heels. Thank you, Sunflower. That's beautiful. And this helps you in a lot of things, but mostly for balance. And that's what I want you to think about it now, because if you're turning, you're leaning back, it can be, the chances of losing your balance are greater. Also, it's going to be more noticeable if you lose your balance. There's nowhere to catch yourself from here. If you're leaning forward, you're going to be compact, you're going to be small, and you can always put your foot down. And it lets you move very quickly if from a turn, so you have your turn, and then you need to continue on. You're already leaning forward, like tennis players, or volleyball players, they're leaning forward, they're ready to go. So if your weight is too far back, if it's on your heels, you're going to be slower, and you run the risk of losing your balance. So if anything, lean a little bit forward, okay? Try not to lean back at all, even if it feels a little unnatural at first. I want you to have just kind of that tipping forward, so you're ready to go, ready to catch yourself. And for this one, we're going to bend our knees. In social dance, that's something we do. It's not ballroom where you really kind of, you're only bending your knees to walk forward. This is you're down all the time, because you're doing a lot of hip movement, and that allows your hips to swing and move with you, and it makes it just kind of more natural, which is what we strive for in the salsa bachata that we do socially, because it's not an elite sport, it's an everybody dance, and it's there so you can move fast and have fun and express yourself. So that's why we keep our knees bent there. And also you need to be sturdy. When you go to a social, the floor may be uneven, it may be slippery, it may be, I don't know, floors are sometimes not so good. So that technique also allows you to dance on any floor. You're going to be very, very sturdy and secure. So for this one, we're going to be stepping, and these are going to be little steps. We can start a little bit bigger, but then we're going to tighten it up and move in. So what we're doing is we're going to be taking that square. Remember, you're with the balls of your feet, or at least you're not standing on tippy toe, just your weight is there off your heels. You're going to take that whole square and you're going to turn it to the side. Now it's like one of those dolls that can only move one direction. That's what's going to happen to your leg too. So you're going to step and your whole body's going to go with it. And from here, you're still, remember, leaning forward, you've got your square, you're going to take that back leg, and you're going to keep stepping like you're stepping a little circle. Your whole body's going to turn, and then you're going to step, last step, and your whole body's turning, losing that square. So the motion is, it's kind of like you're walking in a circle, right? But we're going to tighten that up then. Oh, you're so nice, Sunflower. So we're walking in a circle. And how many steps is going to depend on the music in this case, but I find that the 3-step that we use in salsa, it usually generates some pretty good speed, so let's maybe focus on that. And so this is just motion. So just try walking in a circle, and then I want you to walk in a smaller circle, and an even smaller circle, so you're walking forward, but you're underneath yourself. And in conscious, you always want to step forward, right? So that if there's no steps that are like this, even though you're walking under yourself, there's nothing like this that you're doing, you're always stepping forward. That is always a forward step. So let's repeat that. So walking in a circle, and I'm going to tighten it up. And then tighten it up even more. Always stepping forward. Keeping your square and that forward tilt. sometimes we don't. What I mean by spotting is, that's a technique we use in ballet, many other styles as well, where you're looking front and then you whip your head around. You don't necessarily need to do that here. If you're doing more than 1 or 2 turns, that's something you want to learn, but that's a whole different kettle of fish. So I want you to just concentrate right now on that stepping turn. And just to get that feeling when you're practicing, start with that bigger circle and then move it in. Tighten it up, and remember to step forward. Don't let yourself step back. Keep your weight forward and stepping right underneath yourself. And remember, we'll do both sides. I'm going to do it with you because you don't want to work just on one side. Both halves of your brain got to work. So we're going to be stepping around to the other side. And remember, you're like a doll here. You're keeping square, and you're tightening it up. One side is always going to be better than the other. And then you're going to be turning in place. Remember, you're stepping forward and just underneath yourself. Things to think about here. Keep your core tight because that's your balance. That's something when you're practicing your routine, I really want you to consciously say, okay, turn, suck it in, because that is one of those moments where it's easy to lose your balance, and you already want to be prepared for that contingency, so you're tightening it up and ready to go. And something that takes practice, so it's a process. So when we're doing some kind of pivot here, so remember we're doing our step, tap, step, pivot, and going forwards instead of that. You can do your step, tap, and as you're doing your step, tap, you're already going to be moving in this direction, right? If you're going to pivot and you're like fine with turns, you can take it all the way from here and make almost a full turn. But otherwise, start your pivot by already starting to move in that direction. This is something you do practice. So you do your step, tap here, and your step. And then instead of stepping backwards, you're going to step forwards, always forwards. So you're going to take your whole square and step forward, and step forward, and step forward. And you're ready to go. So if we want to repeat that, so remember we're step, tap, step, 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 step. Does that make sense? Any questions? In the comments. So if you're a turner, do your step, tap, and do your it's quick, so you want to do it how you're most comfortable. But I do want us to learn that stepping technique. It's super useful, and in future pieces we're also going to be using it. So really something to think about. That step under yourself, step under yourself, step under yourself. So yeah, I'm trying not to lose that square. When I say, it doesn't have to be absolute. Of course, you can have this little distortion, but you really want to think about keeping that square. And you can bring the other foot over too. It's also depending on the count. Things to think about here. Make sure that after you practice, as you're getting ready, if you can perform this piece or any piece, which I hope you will, you want to tighten up that circle. So even if you're practicing it in a bigger circle, you want it to be right under yourself. So if there was kind of a line going through the top of your head to the floor, you're right rotating on that axis. Tight core, and I think what else I wanted you guys to remember with that turn. Those are probably the most important elements. Oh, so as far as form, this is something we battle with our whole dancing lives, is form. I want you to keep your legs close together, right? Because this is something that we generally want to do, but it's easy to let those legs come apart. You really want to think about keeping your legs close together. You don't want a gap here. So you've got your close by each other. All right, so that's a little bit in the way of turn technique. We're going to apply that not only here, but future pieces. So it's something I want you to start practicing now so that, like anything else, you have to repeat it many times to make it feel natural. It's going to feel natural at first. And you can keep your legs very bent if that helps you keep your balance, as long as they're not gappy here, because you want to be close to the ground. You want it to have that core and that strength and that speed and that balance, because when you get into a situation where you're performing, you'll have some nerves, you'll have some different lighting, a different floor, people all around, and you want to make sure that you have that security of being very strong. So I'm just going to repeat the first part up to where we stopped, and then I'm going to continue on a little bit. Maybe a few little reminders, but you can always go back and review it. We've been working on the nuances here. So you're walking in, contemplating, and you're keeping your walk smooth by keeping your head not bouncing, and then balancing. Remember to shift your weight there. We talked about that too. Leg is coming down, and rotating to the back. Standing here, remember the little shoulders so the eyes can see you. And the foot is sliding forward, and the arm is coming from the shoulder. Shifting our weight here, and then that drag, and remember your arms have a little air here so they're not sagging. And you're looking to the far corner. And stepping out here, we're going to kind of step to this corner, left, and your right comes to it. And then we're going to change our direction, step in our left. Remember that shift of your weight over your leg before you lift it up. And you can do it here, here, where you're most comfortable. But again, it's that right unicycle. And if you lose your balance, just put it down and own it. So come straight to the floor then with the music, and you're kind of stretching in either direction, like somebody's grabbing your head, grabbing your back leg, stretching out. And you're gonna bend this leg and use that to push off, to step on your back leg. Bring this one back and push off from this leg. That's gonna swing around in the back. Stepping in your left, changing it with your right. So this, you're not shifting your weight here. You're just putting it right down to help your left move forward. So you're stepping left, right, left. And this leg, so I'm going to add just a little something as far as technique and nuance here. As you're coming into your next position, I want you to remember that you want to, again, close up that gap. And I want you to feel like your hip is driving the movement. So it's just kind of dragging your leg through. And you're going to involve your foot, and you're going to lower down from there, right? So you're going to get that very smooth transition here. So you bring that leg up, and you land in it, and listen to that distant music. So starting with our shadow, just going to give a little roll here. The hands come forward like you're offering something. So your arms are rotating and they're coming together, and you want your palms kind of towards your audience, like you're saying, take this. So, and the lyrics are indeed to take my hand. So as you're coming forward, offering something to your audience, and then you're opening back up again to that parallel position. You let your arms drop, and this is just your upper body that's rolling. And your arms are coming, elbows out, elbows in. And as you come back here, hips gonna swing a little bit to the side, and hip circle. Remember, you don't want to move up here. You want to keep this steady when you're doing that circle. And you're gonna shift onto your left, and you'll be listening to that parallel music. And tempo change. So now we're gonna start our shadow movements. Step, tap, step, 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 step. Or pivot, however you want to do that. But step, step, step. I want you it to be a surprise, right? So if you're stepping it, the same thing. So your step tap, don't start to turn too early. You're gonna step here, and only when you're ready to turn are you gonna quick, quick, quick. So step, tap, step, quick, quick, quick. Step, tap, still here, quick, quick, quick. If you're pivoting, step, tap, step, and go forward. So in that, if you are gonna pivot on one foot, also super important to have that weight forward, especially since you're gonna step forward here and keep moving. You're not gonna pose there. So we're going this diagonal, and I have to keep scooting backwards because otherwise you won't be able to see me. And here we're gonna be, like we're walking on a high wire, this kind of feeling, like we're being super careful. And your weight is gonna come up. So you're walking on your tippy toes, but not really. It's just a little tippy toe. You don't want it way up there. I don't know, unless you're a super tippy toe person. Yeah, I guess you could also go way up if you wanted to, but it's not really necessary here. We're just kind of sneaking along here. And I want this to have that certain lightness, like you're balancing in air. So we're all trying to reminisce a little bit of what people did in circuses, still do. And walking forward, and then we're going to come into our pulsing. This, we're just pushing off the ground, and here I want you to feel heavy, so you're pulsing here, and then that brings you to the back. And lastly, turn your shoulders out, and then we're going to pulse here. We're coming a little more forward each time, and then this is where we surprise jump, and going forward. So when you're jumping here, you gain power from both legs, but you're mostly on this one because when you jump up, you want to let this leg swing forward. So you don't have to bring it way back. You can also, alternatively here, you can bring it right to the front. So when you're jumping, just put this leg forward and keep walking. But if you can, start it to the back and then swing it through. And try not to have a gap here. Between, you don't want to swing it through here, you want to swing it right through the middle. Again, thinking about that square. Sometimes we use upper body movement, but we still usually pass through that position. So here, and then we're going to tippy toe to the other side. But we're on a diagonal here, and when we step, we're heading towards the back corner. So we're stepping on it, and this is quick, but I still want you to get a little stretch, like you're going 2 different directions. Being stretched here, being stretched out the back of your leg. And when you're stepping backwards, so you don't have to trim this out. You can also be here. If you're not going to do that kind of that point and stretch thing, maybe use 2 arms and use this arm to swing through and help you step on your tiptoes there. So you're coming from here and stepping back. Stepping to that leg, so you don't want to bring it in, you can step right to it. And then, so here is where it's super important because your hips aren't going to change, but your legs are going to be going around. So here. And we've got a movement with our upper body. So you're going to keep this part still, and your arms are going to be tracing a great big ball. So we can come here with that. Or, if you're ballet trained, that's okay. You can also give yourself a nice stretched out position, but be sure you're sliding and stepping onto it. And then we'll come to the middle again. And we're going to start our pulses like this is something we want to escalate as it goes on. So it's like, why? Why can't I feel this emptiness? Why can't I feel this hole inside of me? So never be enough. This elbows out, elbows in. So I have to swing your foot. And then a larger movement in with your wrists out, in and out. And here, shifting your weight to your left. Just top of your head. And again, surprise jump, but it's not really big jump, it's more of a slide jump. But here, again, we want that contrast to the bigger movements, so we did a lot of little movements there. This is the big one, and then we step, step, and a little slide to the back. So you're just gonna, when you raise your leg, you wanna pull that along the floor. And this is gonna bring us to the corner, step, step, and bend your knees, and you wanna rise up. And with this rise, I want you to pull everything very tight together. So you're pulling in your glutes, you're pulling in your core, and you're gonna exaggerate that lean because that's gonna bring you forward. So instead of rising up and then needing to push yourself forward, as you rise up, you're already leaning forward, and then you're ready for your lunges. One foot and the other, and just step, step. So here's another one where you can do a jump here, with swinging forward and back, or you can do the jump forward, land, swing it back, and here we are. I think we're stepping, and then we've got our turn, or we've got our 1, 2, 3. So as you're stepping your turn, you already want to be facing this way. So if you've jumped, your step, step, 1, 2, 3, and then you're ready for your Choreography basic. So step together, step left, together, tap right, and from here, you tap with your right foot, put them down, squeeze your legs together here, make sure there's no gaps, and your left leg is going to shoot out as your arms come forward. So it's like your board here, that's the position you want to get to. It doesn't have to be high, although it can be. And you're going to start stepping towards the back. So here, again, you can jump that, or you can use your arms to pick up one leg, and then you're going to pivot. Here you are going to have to do, at least a 180-degree turn, but your arms are going to help you. So it's like your arms are lifting up your leg, it's coming down, and you're going to just start to turn here, and your arms are going to help you swing that leg to the back. So repeat that from there. So we're doing our Choreography basic. There's not a lot of time here, so just kind of free arms. And now we're going to do our lift your leg. So here again, so like this, and pulling it up to turn, but you do not have to do that by any means. But I would take the leg forward then. So this is just kind of this turn to the back. It's a little bit, dangerous if you don't, have it really solid, and, we don't want to do risky things in a performance, because already you'll find your technique slides. The audience isn't going to notice, you will, but they won't. So instead of that, we're going to pull it in for a stepping turn. And here, you really have to pull it tight as you start to step, because we're going to come here, and we're going to have to get around fast. So you want to make sure you get in your leg. So the temptation here is to rush it and not be right on your axis, but you really want to pull together and step, step, step. So after that step, 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 I want your arms to go out and aim to the corner, because this is one turn, and then you're pulling it up for multiple turns. And if you're stepping your turn, you need to have that little pause there. So if you come from the back, this will give you that little break, and then you can continue on. So you're probably going to use your overfoot, 1, 2, 3, and then you're just going to keep stepping in. So we're going to do many turns here, but we're just going to do 2. So we're going to do the first one and then 2 together. So you come here, step, 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 step. And then you're ready to continue on from there. So you are doing your, I call it mock bachata. It's like somebody's grabbing your hip, pulling it forward, and your other leg is chasing it, kind of dragging behind on the floor. Hi, Sammy. Hi. Drag your hip up to here. And this is kind of a, here we're going to distort our square. We're going to let that hip come forward, make it a little wonky. From here, stepping back, and just bringing this leg in. You can bend it here, step, and then you're tapping left. And as you put it down, change direction. Same leg coming in, that's a leg tapping, and changing direction. And here we've got another where she goes into that long note, where she's going to suffer again. So here we're going to sink down, and the leg is going to shoot out to the back, but we're going to start it by, not by the leg coming out, but by going down. So you're going down, and boom, that leg is going to help you turn as it comes out. That can push you to the side. So it's kind of like that movement, but we're going to do it slow because you really want to stretch it out. And your right arm is coming up. Remember, it's your elbow that is leading the movement, followed by your wrist and your hand. So that'll give it that soft movement. So you're sinking down here, you're squared off, but as this arm comes up, you're going to twist so that your body opens up and you wash your arm. Now here, even though I want you to make this as big as possible. This is a big movement. You really got to stretch it out because it's so long. Musically, it's, you're sitting there for what sometimes seems like an eternity. So you want to really stretch it out, but you always want to be over this leg because we're going to pull into that leg to continue on. So if you're here, even if you're doing a stepping turn, you want your weight right where it needs to be to step around. So let's pop here. So let's do the stepping turn first. So sinking down, leg shooting out, and opening it up, and then step, 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 pulling it in. Or do the pivot, so shooting it out and pulling it in, and then you're ready to go. So we want to be facing that corner. So here, as far as these little things, I'm going to face you just so you can see. Is your leg coming to the front and making a little circle to the side. That's the movement, to the front, to the side, and then you're going to step on it, and then front to the side. But I want you to make it a great big movement. So you come here after your turn, and you're circling here, and circling here, and you're going to end on one leg. So again, as we did in the beginning, you want to shift that weight before you actually balance there and tighten your core. So you're bringing it out, and from here we're going to be stepping backwards. Now it's not a long balance, so if you're a little off, just own it and start to step back, and then you can adjust for the music. Let's see, let's just get to the end of this, and then we'll have to run with music. I gotta run too. So when you're stepping back, you've landed on this leg, stepping back to this corner, and then the other corner. So we're doing just kind of a walk backwards, but we're turning our shoulders a little bit. And our arms are kind of reaching to the side with our steps. And then we're gonna end up here, and that's where we start another pulse of never enough, never be enough. And this time, we want our upper bodies moving with that. We're gonna continue on from there on Friday, getting a little bit more upper body movement with that. But let's run that through what we've got so far, and then we'll have to break it off until Friday. and we will continue on then.
I'm trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand, will you share this with me? Start all the shine, the thousands, all the stars we see on the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Time goes to living. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be
So, lost my concentration there, train of thought, so I missed a little bit in the second half. We just play a little bit right from the beginning. I'm going to try and catch the part I missed, and just so you have it with the music.
They're good.
Drawing a blank there. Well, if you have any questions or anything, then shoot us a message. We're also available for one-on-one instruction. We can also do that virtually, so just message us. And we will be back on here again at 9 o'clock for our chair routine. And we'll be here for you Friday, but we will continue on. Butterflies, I just really hope that you warm yourself up before doing like the choreography. You can do our morning routine, that's a good warm up, or you can warm yourself up, but I just don't want you going into it cold because that's just a recipe for injuries, and we really don't want those because, you know, it takes time, and it's really the best thing for injury is rest, and if you like to dance, rest is like the worst. So let's be very, very careful with our bodies and make sure that you warm up everything, you know, those feet and your arms and legs, your head, everything. So, my fireflies, I will be joining you again at 9 o'clock. If you want to do our chair routine, it is Muscular Dystrophy and CMT Awareness Month, so we are doing that chair routine this week. And check out Ave Art and Fashion in the description below, and the Sassy Calico Shop. So my fireflies, my love to you. I will see you in the next one, or I will see you on Friday. Bye-bye.